Hey everyone, welcome to At the Coffee Table podcast, and the roundtable version is back. And it's been, I don't know, a couple of months since we last did this, so we're well overdue. So I'm being joined today by Alexis Tierney Cool and Jackie Hanks and Liz Randall, and my favorite roundtable co-host. So we wanted to get together today, and we came up with the topic of so much has changed, and there's no two ways about it. In the last 18 months, so much has changed, and I'm sure we're preaching for the choir about how things have changed for us personally, how things have really changed in the environment, and so I just wanted to start this conversation by looking at what we identify as a group has changed as much as it has, not only personally, but within the environment from 18 months ago. We think back 18 months ago and the plans and the vision and the outlook that we had, not only for our own little world, but our world outside of us and what it looks like right now. So ladies, what do you think? What do you think has changed? If you could kind of share maybe something that changed for you personally from the last 18 months to maybe even if what you've identified has changed environment or globally, not globally, but our small little part of the globe, since all this different things have happened, and that's all. We'll leave it at that. Anyone, jump right in.
I'll go first.
No, just kidding.
My gosh, 18 months ago, I was a different person, right? I am now running two businesses, and 18 months ago, it was, I was working in a business, my family's business, as an employee, knowing that I'd always wanted to grow out of that, but just always feeling like I'm not sure how or when. Like there's never a right time, but COVID changed that, and now it's like it's a whole new set of challenges, but a whole lot of happiness because I'm running two businesses and we're doing good and life is fine. Like everything's going to be okay, and it keeps getting better. And with that feels like there's more responsibilities now as like the owner of the business. I feel like decisions I make now impact like my employee or future employees that may come down the line. And that feels heavy. Like I didn't anticipate that somebody's growth and ability to earn a wage is kind of on my shoulders. Like it's kind of, that's crazy. Didn't expect that.
Right.
That's all. That is
Liz,
a heavy load.
Yeah.
I'll go next.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't start a business yet, but 18 months ago,
That'd be the key word.
So I was a completely different person as well. I literally just graduated. We all know that that's when COVID just blew up and became a huge thing. And I was so unsure on what my future held. And luckily, I was able to find a job as a nurse practitioner. And that really spearheaded like my weekends being available. And then I was able to start hiking. Like I always loved being outdoors, but I never really started getting into hiking until last summer. And that's when I also started the YouTube videos. And like 18 months ago, I would have giggled if somebody said, "Oh, you're going to be on a podcast. Oh, you're going to make YouTube videos." Not a chance in hell. But now I'm doing it. And these are the things that I love. Yeah. And it's so funny because I honestly would have been like, no way. And now I'm living more for the things that make me feel right. And I've found that doing those things that are true to my heart and make me feel good. Sin really just wants to be a part of our podcast. I'm more in line with people that also make me feel good. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned, especially, with COVID and everything. You you kind of realize what is most important to you. At least I have these last 18 months or so, just in going for it and just saying screw it, because the time is precious and there's no other time for it. So I think that's my
for
biggest
sure.
thing. I think other people are
Yeah.
feeling that too.
That's spot on.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Jackie, what about you?
Oh man. So, I mean, 18 months ago, that is a lot more has happened in the past 3 months for me than the last 18 months that I didn't foresee happening. So while life was getting back to some type of normalcy, I lost my dad in August, which is hard to believe that next week it's going to be 3 months. And, you know, I just saw him.
Gosh.
So it's been hard because he took care of my grandma who lived with him. And now, you know, you don't anticipate, yes, you always see like in the wills and things, it's like, okay, then dad and then Jackie. And then, but now it just completely skipped a step of responsibility to me to be the one to be the healthcare proxy, the person making the decisions for grandma, you know, my brother and Hugh and I making the decisions for the family, what to do with grandma's house and what to do with everything. And, you know, even having to cremate dad and all of these things that I just never, I wasn't ready for. So it's definitely changed how I look at things in terms of relationships with family and friends, and not that we didn't put them first before, but not holding these grudges or not talking to people, or, you know, what's the bigger picture. And there wasn't anything going on with my dad and I, but I was telling my husband Hugh that I hadn't talked to him for 2 weeks prior to him passing. And it wasn't because I didn't want to, it's because life was happening. You know, I started the new diabetes job and like all of these things were just full speed ahead. And I didn't take time to stop and just I was texting him things, but just to call. And the day we decided to call him, we were going to call him that Saturday, and he passed away on Friday. You know, so I think like not waiting, not regretting anything. You know, if it feels good, like with what Liz said and what Alexis said, you know, they went for it. And in the last 18 months, yes, that's been the theme, but even just in the last 3 months, you know, what do you have to lose at this point? And trying to find the new normal. But even, you know, when everybody passes away, there's been conflicts between family members and just things that you don't foresee happening. So it hasn't been, I want to be really excited about this new job and about things getting back to normal, but there's always just that the cloud is there a little bit each day. But this Friday we're moving grandma, so hopefully that'll be positive.
Right. You know, those, to me, and everything you ladies said, you know, to me, it kind of brings it back around to my biggest takeaway from the last 18 months. And what's changed for me is perspective on our environment, perspective on my own future, my family's future, perspective of embracing, like Liz was saying, embracing everything there is that's good. And, you know, to me, and my own personal belief, agree or disagree, my own personal belief is there's political and sometimes evil factors that are going to affect all of our future, and things that have transpired and maybe yet to transpire are going to be difficult for any normal return to even remotely happen. But what I also see, not to be all doom and gloom, but what I also see is perspective of positive, of opportunity, of finding those things that you enjoy and just squeezing the hell out of it. Perspective of enjoying, or maybe enjoying our family and our children some more. All of that kind of wrapped up in a messy little ball. that we call our environment, I think is really, to me, what's changed as much as it has for in the last 18 months. So do you see, and I always like to do sometimes with the podcast is talking about past, present, and future, what the past looked like, but what kind of shaped your present and what may shape your future. And I think I'm having wicked internet problems, but anyways, we'll keep going. So if you look at your past, your current, present, and your future, how do you see all that playing out, or where do you see the evolution, I guess, in that?
I think for me, the word that comes to mind immediately is preparedness. And when I think of, I can use this in so many different contexts, but when I look back at myself 18 months ago, I was doing the things like the personal development and listening and reading and really working on my mindset. And I didn't know how or when that would benefit me, but I knew it was a good thing to do. And it has been so needed and necessary during stressful times and things that have transpired over the past year and a half. Like that has really been helpful. And I think like what you were saying, Jason, about, doom and gloom in the future is preparedness, like being aware and being awake and doing everything you can ahead of time so that if something happens, you're going to be ready. Are we there?
Yeah.
Hang on
And
one
even
second for
sometimes
me, because I think I'm
being,
having
I was
technical
going to say, you can be as
difficulties.
prepared as you can, and then there's always that curveball that gets thrown in, and being prepared to adapt and change has been huge over the last 18 months.
Yeah.
So
I don't think it's anything that makes it necessarily easier, but at least you can have the tools to come out on top of a bad situation or a discouraging situation.
right,
So
very true.
Yeah, kind of like Jackie. It sounds like there was a will in
You guys may
place
have to
at
carry
least.
me here for a second. I think I'm having technical difficulties.
Was that helpful at all?
Having a will.
So saying like being prepared and not to. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was, in the sense that like this would happen if there was dads and there was grandmas. So like, oh, Jason's gone. Can they still
Vicky
hear
said
us?
we're gonna have to carry him.
Oh
We
my
got
God.
this.
All right. So yeah, so in Dad's will, it was my brother and I were making the decisions for care and health. So that kind of got wiped out when he passed away. And then there was Grandma's, where we split the estate, but I was in charge of Grandma's health as her healthcare proxy, as the power of attorney, and just making those decisions, which have proven a little tough. But thankfully, she's been, I think it made it somewhat easier, but not really. It was easy with Dad because he wasn't,
Not really.
he passed quickly. There were no machines or anything, but he had this conversation with me about not wanting, if he was going to come back completely the way he was, he would be good with it. But if he needed somebody to take care of him, there was no question about any life sustaining measures. And so the hardest thing has been trying to tell my grandma, because she has dementia, and it's short term mostly. So thankfully she knows all of us, but this conversation would happen probably every day. But we have a sense that she might kind of know that something changed with some of the things that she says. But it's just been tough because he didn't want to have to put her in a nursing home, but she'll get better care there. So we got that all set up for her. And I had the conversation with her, and her biggest concern, I kid you not, was, will I still be able to see you? If I move to this place, will you still come to see me, since it won't be in my house? And I said, of course we will.
Yeah.
And she's like, that's all that matters to me. So like,
yeah. No, I think that's something
I think
we talked about
I
at one of
fixed
the
my
first,
problem.
or one of our first roundtables.
he's
You
back.
fixed.
I think I fixed it.
there.
Holy lockup. That was bad. Technology doesn't love us sometimes.
It
I was
does
afraid it was
not.
going to
We were
drop
good.
the what I
Yeah,
missed.
long story. Yes,
We were talking about
will
being
help,
prepared.
but I
Yeah.
think if there were a lot of
So,
assets involved, yes, too, it would.
Yeah. With COVID, I read and have seen a lot of people that are in nursing homes not seeing their family, and I could see where that concern is humongous. And it's kind of scary, and it really does bring you back to the point of putting the things that matter and the people that matter first, and being able to see them, and when you can. And now I think it's much better now. I think there's more visiting hours and everything. Jackie, I'm sure you know that better than I do at this point, but
And we're
it
going to
really
definitely
does
teach her how to use the
I
iPad.
think the last,
Yes, so we can like FaceTime her.
yes.
Yep. And I tell you what, speaking of that, and I'll just jump in and think about how technology kind of prevented all of us from losing our minds, because we were able to still connect with family and elderly parents or grandparents or people that you haven't seen in forever, but just to have that kind of that connection, that socialization, because we're all social creatures.
Yes.
That was huge. I mean, if my parents barricaded themselves in their house, they weren't coming out during that whole lockdown period. And if it wasn't for, walking them through how to use the technology so we could have weekly chats, and me and my kids and the family, we all got together and we were able to have a weekly conversation because of technology. I mean, Alexis, you kept your business going because
Yeah.
with technology and doing virtual
Yes.
classes.
Yeah, that wasn't easy.
What you've said.
It was bad enough trying to do visits with patients that way, so I have no idea how classes went with.
It's such a blessing to be able to teach normal again.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm sure.
I bet.
Yeah.
And then you think about like different businesses and that finally, or actually, maybe finally realize for the first time that not everybody has to sit in an office space in order to get their work done. And you can work from home, work remotely, and still get all your work done, and not pay that $5,000 a month lease payment just to have an office space.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think for a lot of us too, like who started, like you were saying, like we were exploring social media, and it came to me and I realized like, hey, like this is the new storefront. Like there's a shift happening right here. And there's definitely some value to be had here.
And I think there's luckily for a lot of business owners, there, a lot of people kind of, really grasp onto that and took it so they could grow their business, so they could still scale, so they could still be successful. I mean, Alexis, you did that. I know of some other entrepreneurs that start out zero and now are working with hundreds of people across the globe, because we have no boundaries now. There's no boundaries. I think that's one of the real positives and highlights that I've been able to identify that's happened in the last 18 months.
Yeah. And I feel like these platforms like Instagram and Facebook they obviously recognize it, and that they're trying to make this, like, if you have an e-commerce store, like what they are able to do with your products and put it right and sell it right on it's nuts. That's brand new. That just came. And I think a lot of it was from the pandemic.
Yeah, we're really at the early stages too, of a lot of the stuff of different. I mean, look at Facebook now. All of a sudden, they're going to be meta universe or whatever that is. I think we're really just kind of at the beginning of all this different types of changes, and some good, some not so good. And hopefully the good outweighs the not so good. But I think about the connections that I've just with, I mean, Jackie obviously lives right next door to me, but between Liz and Alexis and many other connections that I have made in the last 18 months, just by attempting to do And it was because of the lockdown that I started the podcast. And if it wasn't for the podcast, I wouldn't make the connections that I've made now and had the conversations that I've had and made some good friends right here that I have now. So I think that's one of the more profound changes that I've seen in the last 18 months.
Yeah, I definitely think connections with people that you've gone through the pandemic with, friends that you've met, either like my friends at the gym or, even some coworkers. It's like you went through this battle together.
Yeah.
And you're understanding it from a different point of view, encouraging each other. And same with your spouse, but certainly these outside people that you may have never really connected with on that level. And now here you are. And I couldn't imagine, them not being part of the story. Imagine you guys not being part of the story. And that's huge, especially during a time over the past 18 months when there's been so many ups and downs. Not to always bring it back to the last 3 months, but even then, like without my support system, I don't know how it would have ended up. Definitely helped me find some inner strength that I don't think I thought I had or knew I had.
Yeah, for sure.
But I was not alone. So.
And that's the most important part, that there's people out there, similar situations, similar experiences. And because of these mediums, we're able to share that and share stories and share insights and, hey, I've had that experience. Let me show you how I got past it, or, different things like that. I think, it's just the opportunity. I was just telling my oldest daughter, there's so much opportunity out there. It just depends on how many lines you throw in the water and seeing what becomes of it and what kind of connections you can make and conversations you can have. It's really unprecedented times.
Yeah. And the access to information, I think is so profound. Like, if you wanted to get, for instance, like into real estate investing, that's something that I have an interest in. And I try to follow as many podcasts and listen to and just take in as much information as possible and just put it in the bank, put it in the bank. So when I'm ready, I'll make, hopefully a knowledgeable decision. That was because of being prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. I
much information in any aspect.
Yeah, I've learned, God, the books I've read, the podcasts I've consumed, the YouTube videos I've consumed, hours and hours and hours just trying to personally better myself. And it's funny you brought that up, Alexis, about, educating yourself in real estate investment, because I have a small, and Alexis, you and I have talked about this. I have a small desire to write a book. So today I was researching.
Do it.
Yeah. Today I was
desire.
Well, I have 25 years of fire service stuff back here that it'll plop out at the weirdest moment. You can ask my wife. It plops out at the weirdest moments, and I can regurgitate a story and from 20 years ago, and now I can't remember what I did 2 days ago. But I think it has some kind of value. So long story short, I was researching today the whole like talk to text kind of dissemination and programs and apps out there to be able to, because if I sit there and look or try to type it out, it gets all jumbled to me. So I think that with technology, why not speak it and tell a story and have it land on the page on the computer screen instead of trying to type it out and go, oh, crap, that's out of order, or, whatever it might be. Because I've sat down and tried to do it months ago, and I started going at it, and I looked at it, I'm like, wow, that's awful. Or at least I think it's awful. So it's taking these, and again, podcasts, book, businesses, new workout programs, new habits, new routines. I think this all goes into what a lot of us have done for ourselves in the last 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if we think about the and I already brought up the whole past, present, and future, but I kind of missed that because of technology issues. If we think about the next 18 months, or let's think about just 2022 and going into, because we were going from 2020 to 2021, everybody was like, who knows what the hell was going to happen.
Right.
Now we're kind of adapting and overcoming. I think as humans, and I think as Americans, we're adapting and overcoming. So now we're looking at 2021 going into 2022. Do you think setting the same goals or bigger goals or plans, or how do you feel about making those kind of long-term plans or long-term goals?
I think it's,
Well,
I don't know.
I think it's important, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
they
have
may
this
change,
like proceed
but-
with caution approach to it. It's kind of where my headspace is. Proceed with caution.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think that's just, it's probably left over from 2020 that we continue to go each and every year and take each year by each year and proceed with caution. But I think it would work against us just to kind of not enjoy what we have in front of her, not to enjoy an opportunity to go climb a mountain or go take a trip, or, you know, I don't know. It seems like very much a double-edged sword.
Right. No, and I don't think we should approach it with doom and gloom, or, you know, this is definitely happening. But I think proceeding with caution, but also trying to prioritize what's important to us and what we want to achieve. Jason, Kathy says, write the book.
Yeah. Thank you, Kathy. I appreciate that.
Yeah, listen to Kathy.
Right.
So I think, you know, something that I really want to try to do is, you know, crush big goals and set them and kind of move forward with intent, but also like what you were saying, Jason, and find the leisure too. And this last year, really since March, was the first time that I've been able to do both of those things. Achieve goals and take time for myself and do something that's purely fun, just like go on a vacation or whatever. And I think it's really important that even though I think there's a climate right now of a lot of like grind and get things done and you know, put your feet to the ground and never stop. But we also have to take into consideration that we need rest.
Yeah, for sure.
True.
Need time to like give to ourselves. So I want to, my big 2022 is to find that beautiful middle section. And I know that forever that's going to be a line to walk, but that's my big goal.
I think it's important to recognize that and be mindful of it. So when you can prioritize that time, you've got it. It's in the forefront, and it's not like put aside or when you have time. You know, you're making that an important goal, which I think we all could probably put that in there somewhere.
Yeah, just to unbox that a little bit, Jackie, I think that we've all kind of realized, Jackie, probably you more than the rest of us, is that time is not infinite. Time is very finite. And, you know, making the most and enjoying ourselves and achieving our goals, but you know, celebrating our successes, all of that is so important. Oh, we got a special guest.
Special guest Eloise. Wave. She can't hear you guys.
Oh yeah, right. She's like wondering what's going on. So, you know, taking all of this, and I had a thought, and of course, in my old age, I lost it. But I think that actually, I know that, you know, it's so super important to have the outlook that you can do better, that things can be better, that you can achieve whatever you wanted to achieve, that you don't have to struggle. All of this stuff is because you can, and you should be able to do it. And I think going forward, coming whatever the new normal is very, very important for everyone. So I you know, that's just, I think that it's time to kind of, I also think back that, and I struggle with my words here because I think back like being a kid of the 80s, and I've talked about this with my wife. Being a kid of the 80s, it was always the only outlet for information we had was the news media. And back then it was the Cold War, and Russia was going to blow us up with a nuclear bomb. And, financially the country wasn't great. And now it's like we were saying earlier, you got the information instantaneously, and you can find information instantaneously and educate yourself. But it's almost become dangerous because now we have cancel culture and we're not allowed to disagree with people. And why not be able to sit down in an environment like this or in person and have a conversation? You can agree or disagree, but you can come to a common conclusion of just some kind of common ground. So that kind of stuttering moment, that's my big highlight with that is coming to a common ground, be able to relate to people, to continue to relate and have that socialization, have those connections. I think is still so super important, even given what everybody's gone through.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like one of the things that technology does with like what you're saying, Jason, is that's 100% on point. But I think sometimes if we're only using these mediums to communicate with people, we're losing the human side of it. And when you have that human connection and that human side of it, you treat each other a lot more respectfully, with more grace, with more kindness. And you can say, oh, okay, well, maybe we don't see eye to eye on that, but I still appreciate you, and thanks for sharing. Like when it's people just kind of being behind the machine, the human side is gone.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think that
kind of scares me.
What part scared you?
I was gonna say losing the human side, but I think my kids are gonna keep us all in touch.
yeah, right. That doesn't get much more real than that. Well, I think that we really kind of covered a lot. We talked about a lot of what's happened in the last 18 months, what we look forward to going into next year. Parting comments, parting thoughts, ideas, things you have on your horizon. Jackie, ready, go.
Okay. Continuing to work on advancing that inpatient transition diabetes program at the VA has been going very well. I feel it's been going very well, but I did get a little shout out from the one of the associate directors today, so that was very nice, based on recent things. So we've just been trying to connect everybody from the inpatient side to the outpatient side and having that continuity. So I think them seeing me there and then seeing me in the outpatient clinic has made a difference in connecting them with the right people, and having that person who can show up while they're inpatient a couple days to show that there is somebody there who cares, that they make this change, that can support them through a very difficult time, and try to help them figure out what's going to work for them moving forward, so they don't land back in the hospital, and finding out their reason why has been huge for me. So that's been, while I do my other stuff, that's been something that we've really been pushing for and trying to get some data on, and so far things have been very positive. So I'm looking forward to where that's going to go in the next couple months.
Great.
And years, hopefully.
Yeah, there you go. I'll keep going around the square. Alexis, go.
I'm going to continue to keep my finger on the pulse, building my businesses I've really learned social media. Like, I feel like I really understand it better than I ever have, and how powerful it is, and continue to keep my finger on the pulse and on the trends. And I have had the privilege for the past few weeks to work with somebody in Facebook on my paid advertising for both of my businesses. And that's an overwhelming, daunting thing. I know, Jason, you've run Facebook ads. Like, you get in there and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
I feel like I'm like, oh, okay. And how this is going to continue to help me grow both of those businesses and reach more people. And then coming out with my fitness program in the future that is going to be available digitally, and I'm excited about that. That's coming on the horizon, and
That's awesome.
social media is going to totally be feeding the growth of that, and we'll see where that goes.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
Liz, ready to go.
Yeah.
So exciting. All right. Well, I'm hoping business transactions are in my future as well. And more growth and just figuring out how to be a single mom and do these things and achieve my dreams. And healthcare stuff. Healthcare is really tricky right now, and I'm hoping for a brighter future there. So I think a lot of it's unknown right now, and so I'm just trying to stay positive with all of these new things, and still with the YouTube videos and everything. So big dreams, big goals, and
Big
we'll have to
scary
see.
goals. That's the name of the game.
Yeah.
Big scary goals. I look at I look at my road from 2016 till now, and how much growth I've had personally, and it always drives me to do more, and it drives me to do more to help more people. I get the opportunity to work for a company to still keep my hand in the public safety world, but I get to participate in an up and coming company and helping them grow, which is super awesome. I've recently started looking at potential speaking engagements in order to help others and to get a message across. I have some leadership training opportunities that may be on the horizon. I have Liz and I have been working on a project that we're looking to get off the ground and make that successful. And it seems like a lot, and it is a lot, and but man, it's like without these type of big scary goals, it's real easy to lose that drive and lose that motivation. And that's why I keep looking at these things and planning and shooting for achieving what they have going on. So and plus I still try to help as many people as I can when they want to sell a house or buy a house, because real estate is still fun, as hard work as it is. Ladies, I thank you for joining me today or tonight. I appreciate all of your insight. You all have become very good friends in the short period that we've been doing this. And if it wasn't for this, I don't think we would have had the connections that we do now. So, I'm looking forward to see what kind of cool things we can talk about around the round table in 2022. So, with that, I appreciate all of your times. I hope that everybody's enjoyed this. We've got some great comments and interaction tonight, which I'm super happy about, minus
Love
any
it.
technology or brain function problems. So with that, I will say, everyone, have a great night. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.